What is high? What is higher? What is learn? What is learning? What is higher learning? I mean, what it is. No, what is it? Oh man. In today's story, I want to talk about Chicken Little. No, not the nursery rhyme. I want to talk about a symptom within the black community. Now, we all know the story of Chicken Little, right? Chicken Little was taking a nap under an apple tree. All of a sudden, apple falls down, bang, hit him right beside his knife. Instead of looking around doing research what him on his head, he goes around telling the whole city, oh my God, this guy's falling. And nobody believes him. And I'll tell you why nobody believes him. Because Chicken Little did not go to the hood and tell black people. Now, if Chicken Little told black people, everybody would have believed it. And that's the Chicken Little syndrome. That you believe something that's so extraordinary without actually doing the research. Yesterday, my mom called me. Oh my God. Don't buy no fruit. If you do, throw them away. Basically, she read something on the internet. And get this, the internet. Not the news. Not a reputable internet site, but the internet. Someone has shot HIV infected blood into some oranges, and so we can't buy fruit anymore. And this is the problem with black people. That without doing research on something or going to the source, finding out what this really all about, a lot of us will believe all these conspiracy theories. We'll take the Illuminati conspiracy theory and run with it. We'll say Jennifer Hudson had her parents killed, her mom and son killed so she could be famous. I mean, that really makes sense, right? I want to be famous so bad I would have my mom and dad killed, but go on TV and cry about it, right? Was those fake tears? But no, we want to believe it as black people. Somebody tells us the sky is falling, we will believe it. But anyway, getting back to this AIDS-infected apple. See, the thing about AIDS, or HIV, when it first became a big thing back in the 80s, and that was after the homosexual thing, because back in the day, AIDS was kind of an indication that you were gay, because that was the what do you call it? That was the stigma tied with AIDS, is that somebody got it from a gay person. Okay, but today we know different. Today you can get it by having sex with unprotected with even heterosexual relationships. But anyway, getting back on the subject I want to talk about. HIV. See, back in the day it was a scary thing because, oh man, if this person kissed me, if he touched me, I'ma get it. If he touched my doorknob, we was all paranoid, thinking that if a person with HIV come around us, he could just touch us like, tag, you're it, and you got AIDS. But the more we know, the less scary it becomes to be around a person with HIV. And the more you study about something, the less fearful you will be to be around certain people. Now, without doing research on HIV, the thing you got to realize about HIV-infected blood is that HIV is a virus. The difference between the virus and the bacteria is what a lot of people do not recognize. When they go to the doctors, okay, if you have a fungal infection, someone who's uneducated will take antibiotics. Then you got to realize that antibiotics do not work on fungus. It's a whole different group of germs. Whole different group. When it comes to bacteria, they have their own cells, so they can reproduce on their own. They don't need a human host. The thing about viruses, they have no cells. They can't produce their own cells, so they need a cell to invade to reproduce. Without a cell, without a human host, the HIV virus will die within hours of touching the air. And sometimes maybe even faster that. They cannot say, but an HIV virus, if it's not inside of a human or inside of a cell, it will die very quick. But a person who does not study this stuff, do their research on this stuff, will believe that, oh my God, there's AIDS on my door. It must be contagious. In fact, if you have AIDS inside of blood and the blood dries up, the AIDS virus is most likely dead. Okay? Most black people don't look this stuff up. Chicken Little will come and tell us somebody shot AIDS virus into a banana, and we will believe that mess. In fact, AIDS virus, I don't know if AIDS virus can even survive in an acidic environment such as an orange. But anyway, that's here there. So let's say they did shoot it up, because some people can do that. You can't shoot an orange up with AIDS virus. I mean, if they take a razor and put it into an apple, humans could do pretty much anything if they know the right people. Let's say they did, and they sent it from Libya. Now again, HIV outside of the human body will not live long. So if they did do that, and by the time they put that thing on the plane and sent it over here, guess what? The HIV virus will be dead. Now I know what you're saying. Even still, I don't want to eat no blood oranges. But a person who's shooting up or trying to cause a terrorist attack or mass extinction knows I'm not going to waste my time and energy on something that's not going to work. If I'm going to take my time to shoot up oranges with blood that's infected with HIV, I want to make sure that anyone who eats it is going to get HIV. I don't want to put 100 letters in the mail and just write addresses on them that got the what's that powder stuff. I don't put powder in 100 envelopes and just write a bunch of letters on it, and hopefully eventually they're going to eventually reach somebody's house. I want to make sure when I send it, it gets to a certain place. And the same thing with AIDS. If I take the time to put AIDS into these oranges, I'm not going to waste my time unless it's going to hit somebody or somebody gets it. But again, us black people, we don't do research. We sit down and hear, oh my God, they infecting our fruits with AIDS, with HIV. And what's the first thing we do? Well, the first thing my aunt did was throw all her good oranges in the garbage. Now, when she told me that, I was like, oh my God, you threw them away? Because I just went grocery shopping, and fruit ain't cheap. Especially organic kind. Now, I don't buy organic, but the point is, fruit ain't cheap. Whether you buy organic or regular, it's not cheap. And in fact, the fruit now you get now is not even ripe. I mean, you might have an orange that looks ripe on the outside. You bite that thing, it's harder than no, not an orange. I'm sorry, not an orange. A peach. Peach look ripe on the outside. You bite that thing harder than an apple, man. Peach is supposed to be mushy, not mushy, but like juicy, man. Things drier than a piece of banana, man. But anyway, I digress. The whole point is, without doing your research, you'd be such a paranoid state that you wouldn't even know how to breathe right. Because again, Chicken Little has come and told you something and you didn't believe it. And sometimes even animals have more intelligence than us as humans. Next thing I want to talk about. The NWA movie came out last year. And it's around the Eazy E, NWA, their breakup, Eazy E's beef with Suge Knight over Dr. Dre and all these things, you know. And I think I'll make a video about how NWA was basically a tool by the government to control the minorities' way of thinking. And it has succeeded a little bit. But there is a rumor going around that supposedly Suge Knight, some way, somehow, got some HIV infected blood and shot Eazy E up. And a lot of people, black people, are running around thinking this. Now, Bone Thugs and Harmony came out in an interview and said, oh yeah, Eazy E went to the doctor with, and a couple of weeks later he was dead. Like, I seen people with AIDS, and they look like they got AIDS. But again, Bone Thugs and Harmony, I guess they rap so fast, their brains move as fast as they rap, that it don't take time to think. It don't take time to slow down to think. Sometimes your brain have to stop working to think. You know what I'm saying? Not to put it that way, but sometimes people got to stop thinking in order to really think about stuff. Because sometimes when you overthink stuff, you're missing the whole point of the whole story. So let's look at Eazy E for a minute. Because we all know Eazy was a very promiscuous person. A very promiscuous character, much like Lil Weezy is today. Lil Weezy is a very promiscuous character. Now, if you go back to Eazy's interview, he even said it. I never used a condom. This was, again, Eazy died in 1995, right? This was a time when AIDS was a very big thing. In the early 90s, the late 80s and early 90s, AIDS was a very big thing, especially after Magic Johnson came out with it. Now, Eazy didn't use a condom, very promiscuous person. In fact, he has at least 5 different baby mamas. Never used a condom anyway. Now, people say, well, none of them have AIDS. But If you have 5 baby mamas, that's just the 5 ones who got impregnated by you. That was the 5 ones who didn't get an abortion. That was the 5 ones who did not have a birth control. But that don't mean that's only 5 he slept with. How do one know that somebody else Eazy slept with is now dead? How do one know that? They don't, because they don't take the time to ask. Chicken Littles came and told us, as black folks, that Eazy E got shot up with AIDS. So we think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. What that's saying is that Eazy E, it was more easier for Eazy E to get AIDS from someone shooting him up with blood than it was for him to sleep around without condoms. Let that sink into y'all nuggets for a minute. That means for Eazy E to go around and sleep around for a long time, that means if Suge Knight had never shot him up, he would still be alive today without AIDS. It's a possibility, but just think about that for a minute. What that does is when you put that into perspective, what that's saying is that we as black people don't like to take responsibility for our actions. There should be no consequence for our action. Everything else is somebody else's fault. Meaning I could sleep with 10 or 15 different women unprotected, and the only reason I died is because someone shot me up with HIV infected blood. And going back to what Bone Doesn't Harm Me said, I've seen people with AIDS, and you don't die just instantly. Yeah, that's right, Bone Doesn't Harm Me. In fact, someone with HIV can live at least 10 years with the virus in their body and still remain undetected. Some people are carriers, meaning I can have HIV and it won't even get passed on to anybody else. So again, as a black people, we never do research. He said, I've seen people that look like they have AIDS. But the thing is, he never did research. That's what you've seen. I've seen crackheads, one crackhead, I shouldn't say crackhead, but one dope head knock out 5 different policemen. But again, I've seen it. How do I know what they were on? How do I know they weren't on Sherm? How do I know they weren't taking steroids? How do I know those policemen wasn't just weak? I don't know that. I'm just going by what I've seen. But again, if I don't do research, I can't say the whole story. So yes, you might have seen people look like AIDS, but the whole thing is you don't know how long they had AIDS before they even died. How do you know they didn't have AIDS 50 years before you seen them in that state they're in? Now, Eazy E died in 1995, so that could mean from 1985 to 1995, Eazy E had AIDS that whole time. And when he went into the hospital for asthma-like symptoms, he came out with full-blown AIDS. So if you want to say he went in and got injected, no. The thing is, he went to the hospital, not just get no checkup. He went in there because he had something wrong with him. He had some breathing problems. That's why he went in there. He didn't go in there to get no physical. Like me, I don't have anything wrong with me right now. I'm not coughing. I'm not sneezing. So if I go to the doctor's for a checkup, get my check my heart rate, my weight, everything else about me. But Eazy didn't go for the hospital for that. He went there because he had asthma-like symptoms. Okay, he went in there for asthma-like symptoms. So it wasn't somebody pumped on asthma-like symptoms. He had it before he went to the hospital. And when he came out, he was known for have AIDS. But again, Chicken Little will tell us anything, and we as black folks will believe it. We got to get out this stupid mindset, man. Start doing your research. Stop believing what people's telling you. Because a lot of times you can get a person to do their dirty work by making them believe something real stupid. And you'll be trapped. And it reminded me of this movie, and this is the last point I'm bringing up. It reminds me of a movie that I've seen. It's called O. And it had Mekhi Phifer and what's her name? I think Jennifer Stiles. And it had another fat white dude, and it had a skinny white dude on it. But anyway, Mekhi Phifer and Jennifer Stiles, I think that, I can't remember her name. But the black dude and the white dude, Mekhi Phifer was dating this white girl. And one of Mekhi Phifer's co-called homies wanted that white girl. So what he was doing was kind of whispering Mekhi Phifer's ear that, I think your chick kind of cheating on you. But she looking kind of good, man. You think she's faithful to you? He started like whispering in his ear over and over again. Mekhi Phifer started to get into his brain. Without doing the research and listening to what his girl was saying, he didn't do the research. But the whole thing at the end of the movie, Mekhi Phifer took his own life. He killed his girl, took his own life, all because not doing research, but because that's what that dude wanted to do in the first place. Because he was too chicken to do it himself. See, if the dude had power and wasn't scared of Mekhi Phifer, he would have pulled the trigger and killed himself. But no, again, he knew Mekhi Phifer was black. He knew Mekhi Phifer had the Chicken Little syndrome, and so I could tell Mekhi Phifer that his girl cheating, and Mekhi Phifer won't believe it. He'll do what I want him to do, and he'll kill himself. Because if I can't have that girl, Mekhi Phifer, you can't have your own girl. And that's the thing with us as black people. We're so gullible. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. Chicken Little, you can't get me. And yeah, that's it. I'm out.